And that was like, I felt it from when I got here. I mean, I've talked to you guys about it. Like, here just felt right. And then obviously, we had all that success last year. That's where I wanted to be, dude. And I wanted to be a part of something to turn the team around and build something special to the city of Houston. So, yeah, it was where I wanted to be.
What is your first impression of the rookie Stover?
I like him. He's a hardworking kid. He's very, eager to learn. I usually get to the meetings pretty early, but he beat me a couple times. But yeah, he's a good kid. I think he made some catches out there today that were nice. Just I'm excited to have kind of a young guy that's super, excited to just learn football, because he told me that. He's like, listen, I'm early playing this position. He told me, he's like, I'm literally just learning from you. So I'm excited for him.
What do you think about what the Texans have done in offense and adding players like Stephon?
She was crazy.
Bringing back you and Noah, adding Joe Mixon. What do you think about that?
Yeah, it's fun. It's great to have, a fully loaded clip, metaphorically speaking. Right? But at the same time, we all understand that, it doesn't matter how much talent you have if you can't go out there and execute and do what's, needed of you. We know we're not surprising anybody this year. You know what I mean? People know CJ is a good quarterback. People know Nico's a good receiver. Joe Mixon out of the backfield. Like, nobody's coming into the game thinking like, all right, it's just the Texans. We got this. So we understand that, the work that we're putting in now is going to be crucial to our success later in the year.
That's an interesting point that you bring up. How do you think that changes things when you're no longer surprised? Because the Texans were surprised last year. When you're no longer surprising people.
I mean, to y'all, yeah, it was a surprise.
Just given what they did in 2022.
Yeah, I feel you.
Yeah.
And again, that's just another layer on things. Like, I think I answered your question already. Like, that's just, you're going to get everybody's best shot. You know what I mean? With the primetime games, it's like, now spotlight's on you. What are you going to do with it? Are you going to, everybody always says you sink to the level of your training, and that's, what I wholeheartedly believe. So I think again, going back to the work that we're doing now, it's all to build on situations like those.
I know you're probably not going to give too much insight, but what are some of the changes and stuff you've been seeing in Bobby Slowick, and what has it been like just to have an opportunity to work with him for year two?
The biggest changes, honestly, have just been making things easier for us. So I think already, like, cutting some verbiage out, creating new terms to, make calls less wordy. For us, it's kind of like, a few things to pick up on and learn. But at the end of the day, it's going to help us kind of get in and out faster, which is what we're all about. Operation is everything. So I think at the end of the day, that'll be very helpful for us. So Bobby's already, been hard at work on trying to figure out what we can improve and build on.
I was hearing that you guys will get everybody's best shot, obviously the primetime games, but you played in Dallas, and it was kind of like that in a sense where you guys are always on primetime. You guys were always kind of, the talk of the town. Now, the Texans are kind of in that bubble. How much has that experience from what you dealt with in Dallas helped? It's going to help you with these guys who might not have always been on the spot. Obviously, CJ was at Ohio State, but a lot of guys might not have been in that spotlight before. How much will your experience with the Dallas Cowboys help you now be able to help these guys prepare for those moments? Yeah,
I mean, I do have a lot of experience with that, but people overthink it sometimes. People make it bigger than it is. And that's the biggest thing that I'm trying to, tell guys is like, listen, it's not like you don't got to try harder. You don't have to go harder. Like, the details need to be on point because, guys feel like there's more pressure. Man, pressure's not real to me, you know what I mean? Like, as long as you're executing in the present moment, like, pressure's perceived from outcomes of what you do. So pressure is a lost focus in the moment, you know what I mean? And so I think for guys, that's, they say when the lights get bright, oh, the lights are too bright. No, you just lost focus in the moment. And I think it's important, especially now when we're in 90-degree heat, 90% humidity out there, y'all were out there, to just lock in on those things, because you get going 4 or 5 reps in a row, you'll start to feel it, and you'll start to feel yourself lose focus. And so stuff like that is the biggest thing in the off season that you can kind of hone in on.
When you get the schedule to the primetime point, you see all the primetime games. What's your thought on 3 games in 11 days, and just are you comfortable with that?
I mean, dude, it's the life of the NFL now. You know what I mean? Like, it's just, we can't control that. You know, those things are difficult if you don't take care of your body and let these things creep up on you. But if you're a professional, just handle your business. We got to go out and win 3 games. However long that discrepancy between games is.
We'll go to the chance and then Cole.
Talking to D'Amico, he mentioned with you coming back again, he raved about you as a leader. How much do you embrace that? And then when you're coming over from Dallas to Houston last year, what did that process look like as far as establishing yourself to becoming that leader in the locker room?
Yeah, I mean, it's something that's kind of I've had to, I'd say, work on. I haven't been the most vocal guy throughout my career, but as I've kind of gotten older and learned from guys that were ahead of me, I've kind of gotten more comfortable, in these environments, being more vocal and trying to help guys out and lead when something needs to be said, and that's just something that I've had to work at. You have success in parts of your career, and guys kind of look at you naturally for that, and I've just kind of helped I've tried to focus on helping the guys around me in those situations. And so, but that's a good question, because I've had to specifically work on that, because I'm kind of more of an introverted guy. So.
Dalton, when you look back at CJ's rookie year when he was coming in, he kind of mentioned at the start of minicamp that he feels more relaxed because he's not just going through the process of always having to be in the mindset of football. Have you noticed a trend in him to where he does feel maybe a bit more comfortable, a bit more relaxed, and also taking that next step forward? For sure.
Going back to the leader question, I think CJ's done a great job of that, already. Just with, little things such as commanding the huddle. He gets in the huddle, it's, he said something to the guys first play that we stepped out there. He's definitely gotten more comfortable. And he's again, kind of taking that next step of being that verbal guy, that verbal leader that quarterbacks in the league have to be.
Close this arc.
Coach said that he was able to bring Dylan Horton in and speak to you guys before you all started OTAs into the team meetings. I know Dylan's locker was close to yours, and so does it feel good just to see him again, knowing that he had, what he went through?
No doubt. That was something that wasn't, we knew that Dylan had stuff going on, but nobody really went into the intricacies of that, and just finding out what Dylan was dealing with and how he's able to come back on top. And man, it's great seeing him back in there. He's a young guy last year, but feels like we lost a part of that class, and so him being back around is great. It's great for morale. Guys love him, so I'm happy that he's back in the building.
Cool. Thanks, Dalton.
Thanks, appreciate it.
Brother, you good?
Out there on the field with Christian, what kind of tandem do you think you guys could form?
Man, I mean, Christian, just watching him on tape last year, because I think just instinctively you get used to nice ringtone. You just instinctively get used to like watching. I wanted to see how it was going for D'Amico, how it was going with the guys, and so I would watch their games the same way I would watch Fred and them in San Francisco still. So I knew all the calls and stuff like that still, and just seeing him move. He's a great athlete, a great player, but just now I think me being able to help him, somebody who's been experienced. I had similar vets at the time when I was a rookie helping me. Quan Alexander, Malcolm Smith, guys of that nature, and then obviously grooming myself with Fred and Dre as well. We all kind of came up in the same couple years. So I think the sky's the limit for him. Sky's the limit for us. So just excited, taking it one day at a time because it's day 2 of OTA. So
Aziz, I know you were talking yesterday about what was your decision to come here, but did you have any conversations with Jimmy Ward just about what you liked and what he liked about Houston, and also what he liked about the camaraderie in the locker room?
Oh, yeah. I mean, it's crazy, but it's like even talking when you're competing against the guys. I remember playing these guys twice, and both times just like even after the game, just chopping up with it was people I didn't even know, talking to Jalen Petrie, what I'm saying, after the game, first time. It just was like, it was this weird, like, kind of like mesh that was already there. But I think for them, a lot of the stuff when D'Amico first came in, he's showing all the clips from San Francisco, and obviously myself, as well as the other guys, Jimmy Ward are on those clips. So I think they were just so like familiar with me already, even though I wasn't here, if that makes sense. So it was just already something that I think just culture-wise, you could see it, watching the tape, being on the other sideline, talking crap to D'Amico, just give him a hard time. But like you could just see the energy and the kind of like culture that they were creating and that they had. So when I came in, like, it doesn't feel like I'm coming into a team that I've only known for a couple months. It feels like I've been here. So it's a really good feeling for sure. But me and Jimmy, like I kept in contact with Jimmy all the time, and he's one of my guys. I think all of us, from that group in San Francisco over those years, keep in touch with each other and stuff like that. So yeah, it definitely was conversations that me and him had for sure.
Have you got a chance to speak with? Have you got a chance to pull rookie Jamal Hill to the side and just talk to him, especially someone who isn't as familiar with playing the linebacker position, still brand new at it? What do you feel like you can teach him?
Yeah, I think the first thing is just like slowing everything down, breaking it down, because when you're making decisions from 10, 12 yards deep, you have a chance to make a false step. When you're 5 yards deep, that timing, it happens a lot quicker. So just trying to get them to slow the game down. You got 30,000 people. You got the trainer talking to you. You might think it's a coach. You have no clue when you first come in as a rookie, especially in a place like this. There's so much support everywhere for the guys, which is great. But in that same tune, when you're a rookie coming in, it can be so overwhelming. So I talked to him, and I talked to all of them, but talking to him and just try to just get him to like calm himself down, slow it down, just get back to the basics. Work the techniques that we're doing in individual, apply that to the field, because for a while you won't be able to let your instincts kind of take over until you constantly do the same boring, repetitive thing over. And, people try to see, like, how do you be great? Like, what does it look like? It looks boring because you're doing the same thing over and over and over and over and over. And if you could perfect those little things over and over and over, and you're doing good at that, that's how you become, this great player, because you're just doing the same technique that you were taught from day one of OTA. So,
Aziz, how much did your prior relationship with D'Amico help you in aiding your decision to come here? And was it? I know you had a relationship with Ram, but was it difficult the first time? Because I know they were interested in you the first time you were free agent after leaving San Francisco as well.
Yeah, it was tough for sure. I think there's like this dynamic of, D'Amico is somebody who I've seen like a father figure. I think just our relationship over those 4 years and how it grew. We done had laughs, cries, and cussed each other out, everything in between, over that time span. And he's taught me so much. He's one of the best coaches I've ever had. So it was definitely like green light, no brainer going there last year, truthfully. But when you talk about from the business standpoint of it, just making the best decision financially for myself, and obviously the team as well. Me and Nick don't have any type of, rapport other than D'Amico at that time. So I think it just I had stuff that I had to prove on my own. You know, I think people in the building knew who I was and what I could be, but nobody outside of that building truly knew, like, hey, can he do it by himself? Can he go off and, you know, be this player on his own? So I think it just didn't work out from that perspective. But went to Tennessee, you know, it was a great group of guys I was able to play with, and, you know, got to be with Rand, so that was pretty cool too. And, you know, had a good year there, and things worked out now. So, you know, I think it worked out how it was supposed to, for sure. But yeah.
What were your impressions of watching this rookie QB last year in the division, have the type of year that he had, and that was it. There.
It's all good, brother. It's all good. I promise you, I'm gonna have some of those too. So, but no, honestly, it was awesome because I think you love seeing like those young guys come in. You know, they got that confidence, that swagger, and the first time we played him, I think it was the game before, is when he had that like huge scare with the concussion thing and everything like that. So, you know, you study him, but I didn't get a chance to play against him. And then that second time we came and played him, which is, I think it was like 2 weeks apart, and he played, and I think that was his first game back as well. And just seeing him move around, I thought he did a really good job of his progressions and his reads. And there was times where I'm thinking he's about to throw me one, and, you know, he's getting off that and just throwing the little check downs. Like, it's just, like I said, the little things, taking the boring plays and, you know, just dinking and ducking. I mean, they worked us down the field when I was in Tennessee that game, you know, the entire time. It was like 12-play drive, just going, score a touchdown. So, you know, it was really, like, you know, encouraging just to see, like, a young player be able to take that step, you know, in year one. And, you know, I remember after the game, sitting there talking, chopping it up, you know, just, you know, having good conversations. Similar, like I said earlier, it just felt like I was already like a teammate, even though I wasn't on the team. It was so weird because I didn't know them. You know, I didn't know Jalen, I didn't know CJ, any of these guys other than Jimmy. So I just think it was just really unique how this whole situation played out. But without a doubt, you know, I was definitely like encouraged to see like how he played and excited to see what he's going to do moving forward.
Quick follow-up to that, because I probably remember that.
Found it.
Yeah, there you go. I found it. How much does it help to come into a situation where, you know, I know obviously you play on defense, but come into a situation where, you know, offensively you have a good situation there as well. And obviously teams kind of go as quarterbacks go across the season.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, you know, to go where you want to go, where you're in a position to be fighting for championships and, you know, winning playoff games and winning your division, things like that, you have to have just an overall good team, you know, offense, defense, special teams. But yeah, I mean, of course, it makes your job easier. You know, I'm not sitting there like, oh, okay, I can let this guy beat me right now because I know CJ's going to score a touchdown the next. Like, I don't care who's out there. D'Amico could be throwing the ball out there, which would probably be bad. But, you know, whoever is out there, that quarterback, it has nothing to do with me and my job. I'm completely focused on the defense and how I can, you know, better us and do our job well. And I'm going to let them do the same thing, you know.
We'll close with Cole, Sarge, and Jonathan.
Hey, Aziz, so you switched your number over to 0. What was the reasoning behind that? And then also, did you fight with Sean Murphy-Bunting last year for the number and he just wanted out, or what went into that?
No, so the two things. One, Robert Woods, and when I first came into the league, Robert was still in L.A. with the Rams. And, you know, I just, being a rookie, you scheming up with this, you playing against this guy and scheming for this guy for all these years, and then, you know, now being on the same team, I think it was more so just a respect of, like, how I see him, you know, the respect that I have for him. I wasn't even a conversation to pay him for the number or ask him to switch the number. Like, you know, I have a lot of respect for Robert, so I wasn't even trying to do that. But then with last year, you know, number 2 is like, that's my number I had in college, so that was kind of just my number. But I remember I was talking to Sean Murphy-Bunting because we're still good friends, and I was telling him, like, yeah, I'm going to just get 0 because he had it, so, yeah.
Go ahead, Jonathan.
Aziz, you mentioned, you know, the previous year wanting to prove yourself aside from, you know, getting paid nicely. I'm not pocket watching, but in what ways do you feel like you weren't able to prove yourself last season?
I think, you know, the biggest thing is, like, on the average team, the third linebacker who plays 25, you know, I think in 1 year the most I played was like 70% of the snaps, and that was only for one season. You know, you just want to see, like, wow, we've been having a lot of. If this was a team meeting, boy, we have a lot of fines getting handed out. Bad. But no, I mean, just wanting to see the consistency. I think in this league, you got to be consistent. And when you're sporadically getting snaps just based off of, the pecking order, I was the undrafted guy. Dre was a 5th rounder. Fred was the 3rd rounder the year prior. And all of us just continued to blossom, obviously some earlier than the others. So I think being real with myself, I understood how that looked. Even though I believed in myself already, it was like, okay, I gotta be able to go out there and compete and show them like, hey, I can be an every down linebacker, stay on the field. I mean, I played over 1,000 snaps last season, and was one of the tops in the league in tackles. And a lot of my tackles I made were in the run game were within 3 yards. It was over 100 and something plus tackles, and just in the run game alone within that small 4-yard box window. So I think just showing people that I can do everything, and obviously sideline to sideline is what I've always done, and who I am. But I just think like I said, the sky's the limit for myself. I have high expectations for myself. D'Amico coming in, he was hard on me and Dre Greenlaw, and I'm grateful for it because now there's nobody that can outdo the standard that I already have for myself. So.
Go ahead, Frank.
On yesterday during a scholarship presentation, you told us a little bit about what you had been through, the adversity that you had been through, and the one thing that really stuck out and that a lot of the people in the presentation took home was the fact that you are a strong family man. Family means a lot to you. Coming into NRG, coming here to this organization, is that what you have felt since you've gotten here, that strong family bond that started from D'Amico on down?
Yeah, without a doubt. I think I use the same analogy all the time. It's just kind of how I broke it down to people in general, but specifically in a team setting. When you talk about like family and that camaraderie and that bond and that love that you build, that you really build starting right now and this time right now. But it's like I compare it to like, let's say you have some important meeting or something that you're running late to, and you're driving in your car and you see a homeless person on the side of the street. You want to give them some money. You might give them $1, you might give them some food, but that's about it. But if you saw your mother, your father, your brother, your sister, some of us don't like our brothers and sisters, but you love them, so you will go out your way to do whatever it takes. You'll forget all about your meeting to make sure that your mom has some food, a shelter. You take her to your house, clean her up, make sure she's good. Like, you completely forget about everything, and you're willing to do anything for somebody you care about. So when you say that in a football setting, the family and the camaraderie, it all matters when things get tough. Because when it's good, I don't care who you are. So we all good. But when things get rough, that's when you find out the true character. So when you already have a foundation, of team bonding, of, love for one another, when stuff starts to get tough, like, we good. Like, hey, I got your back. I know you got mine. I'm willing to do stuff that maybe I don't really want to do right now, or maybe I'm not feeling it right now. You could turn this hit down. I'm gonna try to go blow this guy up because I know we need to make this play. I need to make this play not just for me, but for the guy next to me. So I think that's why it's so important.
Thank you.
No problem. Y'all take care.
And out of power, what was it like to tell people about the need for donations right now they have?
Oh yeah, it's huge. You know, the city of Houston is in need of everything. You know, with the little storm that we had, or not little, big storm that we had, kids' meals ran out of power. So I'm just trying to let everybody know that they're trying to gather food like tuna packs, beef jerky, things that can be stored in like pantries and stuff to help those that don't have power and stuff like that.
What was it like to see Tank run around? You guys have probably seen him since this, but just have him on the practice field.
Oh yeah, it's always good to see Tank back out there. You know, we see the work that he's put in, all that he's been through. You know, it's always inspiring to see somebody, you know, fight back and win because, you know, he's a true competitor and a guy that makes our team better. So I'm glad that he's back out there. And it definitely makes me better, you know, having to go against him on a day-to-day basis.
What can you guys accomplish as a safety room if you get some health this year? I mean, it felt like there's not really a lot of times where you and Jimmy and Eric and MJ and everybody was all together. What can you guys accomplish as a safety room? This year?
I think, like you said, that continuity would definitely help without injury. But, you know, that's the name of the game. The NFL, you know, all the play speed and, you know, the hardness of the sport. Like, you never know who could be out there. So, really, we just trying to, you know, get to know each other off the field. And, you know, I think that in turn will help us on the field regardless of who's out there. But, like you said, I definitely would love it for all of us to stay healthy. Oh man, he's a dog. Like when I first seen him, I'm like, bro, it's tall. And then no, for real. He like for real. I'm like, bro, it's tall, like taller, like he looked like a receiver. But just being in a room with him, you could tell how locked in he is. Like he's answering the questions sometimes before the veterans. So, you know, it's good to see a guy that come in and, you know, be confident in himself and get to work because, you know, he definitely can help this team.
So far of Aziz, what he brings to the defense?
Oh, he's a true leader. You know, I've spent a lot of time with Aziz in these last couple of weeks. You know, I'm glad he's on my team. He's a guy that knows the system very well and is going to help us a lot.
He was kind of talking about a second ago that when he was talking to you guys as a member of the Titans, it felt like this was somewhat like somewhat home for him because of how well that the defense knew him from watching film with San Francisco.
Yep.
Did you feel that way about that when you were watching him last year?
Oh, definitely. You know, I definitely, after the game, I went and spoke to him and just told him that I admire this game and everything that he does, you know, that tenacity that he plays with. And like I said, he understands the system. And, you know, it's always evolving, so it's definitely new things you can learn. But he's definitely locked in. Like, he's definitely going to be somebody that helps me out a lot.
What did you two in this defensive scheme look like for Jalen Petrie?
Calmness. I think that's the next step for me, just being calm and understanding what the coaches want from me. And, you know, after that, just making plays on the ball. I think that's the biggest thing that I'm looking forward to. And, you know, just more wins from the Texans. That's the biggest goal.
Is it more like control aggression?
Yeah, it's definitely control aggression. You know, you can go off the rails a little bit sometimes, you know, being eager to make plays and stuff like that. But, you know, I'm just trying to be calm, cool, and collective out there and just be able to do my job and then, you know, make plays when my number is called.
When you say year three, the biggest year for the leap for prospects, where do you think you've grown the most over your first two seasons?
Like he just said, or like I just said talking to him, I think it's the calmness, you know, understanding what these coaches want from me, you know, going through a lot of ups and downs last year, understanding my role, and, you know, just trying to build on that. You know, I'm in a great spot. You know, I understand what the coaches want from me, and I'm looking forward to year three.
What did you take from, you just mentioned the ups and downs, like what did you, when you went back and you looked at, what did you take from it?
Yeah, I understand that, you know, that's a part of life. You know, everything not going to always be sunshine. You know, I felt like I did a lot of great things in my first year, you know, made some plays. But last year it was more, like I said, that up and down, you know, being able to go through the waves and stuff like that. But I understand that it is going to be, you know, valleys throughout the process. So, you know, just sticking to my process, understanding that I got to keep going and not stopping and, you know, staying idle. Like, making sure that I'm focusing on the right things and, you know, continue to move forward to help this team out.
Go ahead, John.
And you've been there since 2022, so you've kind of seen, you know, the organization from where people probably projected them to now. What do you think about how you all been able to kind of change the perception of the Texans?
Yeah. I think it goes back to even my personal story. Like I say, it's all a process, finding out what we do well and finding out ways to win. And I think that, we improved on that last year, and we're trying to, continue to build on that going forward.
You're from this city. How different was it going out after the success that you all had last year? How different is it being out in the city? People definitely know who you are.
Oh yeah, I love it. I love it when we're winning because it's like an aura in the city. It's like a different feel. Everybody's a little bit more happier about the Texans, and it's definitely inspiring to push yourself and work a little bit harder because you want to continue to bring that happiness into the city and to the fans that really show up for us. So I'm very thankful for it, and like I said, we're trying to just continue to stack good days and get better.
Having said that, what's the atmosphere like for a player? Because we hear D'Amico and other players talk about the schedule and all the nationally televised games that sometimes it's made of a bigger deal from our part, the media, or the fans rather than you guys. But you as a player, from your shoes, what's your perspective like? What's it feel like between you guys? What the expectations and the excitement are for this upcoming season? Yeah, personally, from my standpoint, I just try to keep everything very simple. I'm not trying to focus on all the outside things. It's like when we playing, who are we playing? Like, I'm just trying to have a simple process and attack that the same way every week. I think when you do that, it makes things a lot easier for you, and you're able to execute on a better basis. So that's all I'm trying to do. I'm trying to keep the main thing, and stay focused on what I need to focus on, because all of those outside distractions, you can get lost in it for sure.
When you look at the wide receiver room, you were kind of talking about Tank going up against him, but Nico offers a different skill set than John, who also offers a different skill set than Stephon, who offers a different skill set than Robert. Individually, but also as a unit, what does having so many variety of receivers do to better secondary and for you in your game?
Oh, man, it makes us so much better because we're going against the best of the best on a day-to-day basis. I think it is going to do nothing but improve our confidence as a unit, as a DB group, and continue to, challenge us on a day-to-day basis because we're seeing the best receivers in the league consistently. When we walking in the hallways, they talking trash, doing sort of stuff. So that competitive nature is there, and I think that's a good thing for the Houston Texans because both sides are going to continue to get better.
What have you seen
Last two guys, go Aaron and Sarge.
John, speaking of competitive nature, you kind of referenced it, going through some ups and downs in terms of motivational fuel to show people that you're the playmaker that you were as a rookie. Mm-hmm. How would you describe that motivation, how it feels?
I wouldn't say I'm trying to, like when you say show people, I think the most important thing is just making sure that I show up for the people that, believe in me. And I think that starts with my teammates, my coaches, my parents, making sure that I'm delivering for them. So that's really all I'm focused on. Like I said, keeping the main thing, and, sticking to my process.
Jim, I talked to Coach and Dalton about this, and so I want to get your views on how good was it to see Dylan Horton to be able to overcome what he went through and to be able to see him back in the team meetings.
Yeah, I just want to start off with God is good. He's faithful, and Dylan pushed through, and I was very thankful to see that on Instagram. That was the first time I kind of seen him in a while, and just to see the strength that he had through that process was definitely inspiring because that's something hard to go through. We know Mesh went through something similar. Like, you never know. That's a different ball game than football. That's life we talking about. So, it's definitely a blessing that he got to ring that bell, and, I'm happy to have him back in meetings, smiling with the team.
Appreciate it.
Yep. Appreciate y'all, man.